But the initial college football playoff rankings are now out. And looking at the top of the board, Tennessee at number 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4. Outside of just reacting to what the top of the board looks like, you're actually targeting the top 2 teams or top 3 teams here. You think the reigning national champions might be in some danger this coming weekend?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily they're in trouble this weekend, but if they lose this game, again, there's a lot of things that have to happen, but they could be out of the playoff because they're back at number 3 right now. Their best win is against number 8 Oregon. The rest of their schedule is nothing. Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Georgia Tech. So if they would lose to Tennessee, they're going to shuffle down. There's no more teams remaining to get them back up into the top 4. And plus, they would have had the head-to-head loss to Tennessee. What's funny is Tennessee actually can lose this game, and I think they can still get in the playoff at 11-1, because then Georgia and Alabama would play in the conference championship game if everyone holds serve. And if Georgia beats Alabama, that would eliminate Alabama. And then Tennessee at 11-1 without winning the conference championship could be back in the running. But yeah, the defending champs, they're slotted at number 3 right now. Other than the Tennessee game, they don't have a lot left. I do think, though, if Georgia beats Tennessee, gets to the SEC title game, Georgia versus Alabama, the winner is in and the loser is in if both teams finish 12-1.
You get the sense Georgia realizes this is their biggest spot of the year based on what you just provided. Georgia is an 8-point favorite against Tennessee. Volunteers getting a lot of the money right now. Looking at the Action app, 94% of the money on Tennessee this weekend, 78% of the bets. So that will be fascinating to see how that plays out. So you think Tennessee's got a little wiggle room, urgency for Georgia. When you look at the rest of the rankings, what team may have been ranked a little too low in your eyes?
I don't know. The committee changes every 2 or 3 years. They shuffle in new people, but for some reason, they do not like or respect TCU. I remember back in 2014, TCU was ranked number 3 going into the final poll. What did Tennessee do? They beat Iowa State 55-3. So what happens? They drop from 3 to 6. They miss the playoff. This year, you look at the first rankings, TCU's at number 7. They have 2 wins against top 18 opponents. Who else has more than that? Nobody. Tennessee's the only team with 2 wins that are ranked higher. They're number 1. TCU's at 7, behind Alabama, whose best win is against 24 Texas, which they probably should have lost. Clemson has 2 wins against teams ranked 21 and 22. I don't understand why they don't have TCU higher. I heard Boo Kerrigan, the selection committee chairman, talk about, well, they've been behind in games. They've come back from behind. I didn't realize that you had to lead the entire game. I thought it's whatever the score is at the end of regulation. That's what counts. But yeah, it's very simple now for TCU. Well, I talked earlier about Georgia, Alabama getting in at 12-1. Tennessee's got to go 13-0 to get into the playoff. If they're 12-1 and win the Big 12 championship, I don't see any way they'll get back up there. There's too many bodies to climb.
They do get Texas in a couple of weeks, TCU. Do you think that's plausible for them to run the table?
It's plausible, but I think the Big 12, they're going to beat up each other. I think the Pac-12 will do the same thing. And TCU, the schedule will be strong enough the rest of the way out. They would get Texas, as you mentioned, in a couple of weeks, and then they would get a rematch with Kansas State or Oklahoma State, which should remain in the top 20 somewhere. So they would have an opportunity, but it's just, if you've already beat 2 top 18 teams and you're all the way back at 7, the committee's telling you right now that they don't necessarily think that highly of them. So again, 13-0, the committee will not leave a 13-0 Power 5 conference champ out of the playoff. No way, no how. It won't happen. But if they're 12-1, it gives them the wiggle room to go elsewhere.